Well, welcome to part 5 of our remake of KidsCanCode's Shoot 'em Up. We're now doing part 5, which is improving collisions by using a circle collider, combined with part 6, where we're rotating the graphics. Now, I've already done the version in Love2D and Pygame. This is the C# version. So if you could refer to the two that I've already put up, because a lot of the research I did to rotate rectangles was done in there. So let me just show you what the C# one does. If we hit the button there, and we'll drag that across. So we've got, I'm just holding the mouse down to keep everything still. So we've got the meteors are now rotating along with a green rectangle that rotates with them. There's a circular collider in the center, as there is in the center of the ship as well. So if I let that go, when I fire the bullets, we have a rectangle with a red circle at the top. So we're now using circles to do the collisions with rather than the rectangles. The previous two videos using Love2D and Pygame were showing the research I took to try and find out how to draw these rotating green rectangles. So that's what we'll be going into now using C#. Now the initial part is to get our new graphics into the C#. So you may need to make some changes to the content manager. At the moment I've got several images and things here from the videos that will be following, but so you're now going to need these meteor brown images. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe there's 7 of those, yeah, plus the red laser and of course the player ship. That's all you need at this stage, so make sure you've loaded those into your pipeline. So what we're doing today is firstly to load those new images in using an updated load images, which is here. So prior to this we had these 3 background ship and laser images, and we had a single meteor image. Now I've created a meteor images list, which is declared at the top of the file here. So it's now being given initialized with this table of images now. So we're now loading in using the content load all the images that were in that pipeline there. So we've now got a choice of 7 images that we can use. When the load content is opened here and we're making the mobs, we're still doing a for loop for 8 mobs, but I've done it here by getting one of each of those 7 images plus adding some random ones to make a bit more. So we're kind of randomly choosing the last ones to go into the list here. It was just to make a slight variation on the purely random choices that were being used in Love2D and Pygame. So that one should work quite nicely. Let's go to the mob class, because that's where most of the changes are happening. So we've still got the same constructor where it takes an image, and then we're also now adding in a circle as well as a rectangle, which can be used to behave as a collider. So the rectangle is set up as it was before, using the image width and height. Then the radius of the circle which we're about to create has been calculated by using the minimum value between the width and height of the meteor image that happens to have been supplied. So that might be very small or it might be quite large. A little bit of scaling put in just to make it fit in nicely. Then we've got the circle being created by just using this here. So we're creating the circle here, setting its center and radius. And then in the update function down here, we're updating the position of the rectangle as we did before, and we're also updating the center of the circle to be equivalent to the center of the rectangle, so that they kind of match each other. Now the bit that's kind of new, which is what I was going through on the previous two videos, is this draw polygon, because basically we are no longer drawing a rectangle, we're drawing a polygon that happens to be rectangular in shape but is not in the strictly horizontal and vertical axes. And so we're using the same code that I managed to find for the Python and Love2D versions. So let's go through the drawing the polygon, which takes the center of the polygon, which is the same as the center of the rectangle, and then gets a series of vertexes from this function here. So that's the one that we're now going to look at. So here's the get rotated vertices, which returns a list of vector2 coordinates. So this is exactly the same formula as was used in Pygame, which I will drag across and show you now. So this is the Python version, where we're getting all this, doing all these calculations and returning a list of vertices. And since I did the Lua version, I've done exactly the same thing in there. So this is the Lua version of getting that same list, or in this case table, of vertices, which can then be used to draw the rectangle. So I won't go through the way the maths works. The last time I did maths was about 50 years ago, so I'm just following what I've seen. It works, and I can make minor adjustments to suit it. So that will produce these vertexes, and then they are drawn down here using the draw polygon. So we'll just fire that up again just so you can see it. There we go, that's dragged in. So they're now rotating in the same direction as the image, which is another thing of interest, in that in the C# version of this function here, we are adding the rotation to it. In the Lua version, we are adding the rotation here. And in the Python version, we are minusing the rotation. I have no clue why that should be the case, but in order to make them work properly, Python, as usual, does things in its own fashion. So if anybody knows why that's the case, then please leave your in the comments. It would be great. But we've now got that working, so we're rotating our images, which are being chosen at random, and the colliders are now using, if I go to the main file here, we're now using circle colliders instead of rectangles. So we're in our check mob bullet collisions. I've commented out the destroy equals bullets rectangle intersects, and we've put in instead destroy equals bullets dot circle intersects, because we've got a circle both now in our bullets. I've also put circles in the mobs and the player. Same in here, we're now doing check mob player collisions by using the commenting out the mob's rectangle intersection and using the mob's circle intersection. So again, in the player class, just to extend that a bit, we're adding in a circle, and in the constructor rectangle as before, and we're just adding a circle based on the rectangle center and the radius, which has been calculated using the image height and width. Same in the mob class, the bullet class. There we are. So we're adding a circle, and then in the constructor, calculating the radius again from the image width and height, and then adding the circle there. The update is changed slightly in here in that the rectangle is updated as before, but the center of the circle is updated by just making it equal to the rectangle Y value, because bullets don't have any change in their X value, so that's relatively simple. So that just about covers everything, I think. As I say, let me just bring back the Lua version. So I've altered this now from the video that I showed you, but I've left it in the code. So we've got this function rotating rectangle, which uses the graphics translation, and then we've now got the same way of doing it, and in the draw method down here, that's the old way of doing it by using that rotating rectangle with push and pop on the graphics, and this one here now uses the graphics polygon, so that all three versions are now using the same technology. So again, I'll just run that one for you just so you can see. That's the Love2D version working in exactly the same fashion.